Involved in a lot of technology, right? Like people ask you to invest money, and then you do or you don't invest money. And are you in these meetings, or you have somebody that handles all that for you?
Yeah, we have a firm, Queensbridge Venture Partners, named after my neighborhood.
Right.
And we take meetings. We take pitch meetings.
And are most of the ideas pretty good, or are there terrible ideas that you get?
No, they're mostly good. They're smart people.
It's your boy Quan checking in now. Check it out. Now, when people bring up notable hip-hop entrepreneurs, they often bring up Jay-Z, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, Rick Ross, Master P, Kanye West, P. Diddy, Akon, and a host of other names, right? Now, one name that they often leave out when the conversation comes up, they leave out none other than Esco. I'm talking about a.k.a. Nas. Some call him Godson, widely regarded as one of the best MCs of all time. Some even have him pegged as the greatest, rapper of all time, given that he's released timeless albums such as Illmatic, Stillmatic, It Was Written, I Am, and a host of other, albums that he has in his catalog. And the interesting part about Nas is that he actually just won his first Grammy for King's Disease, which in my opinion was an amazing body of work. It was up for Album of the Year. And if you ask me, it was just way overdue. But nonetheless, salute to the Grammys for recognizing Nas's greatness and his art. He's just been a staple in hip-hop and has been a legend for over 2 decades, man. So it was dope to see him win his first Grammy. Now, given with that said, I don't want to talk about Nas's music with y'all. I actually want to talk about something else. Even though his rap career has been extremely legendary, what he's done outside of the world of hip-hop has been even more impressive and is not talked about enough, in my opinion. And that is because he's quietly built a tech empire for himself through his venture capital firm, Queensbridge Venture Partners, aka QVP. Now, venture capital, right, is probably a term you hear a lot within business. And I heard it a lot growing up as a kid because I was really into tech, so I heard it a lot as it pertains to Silicon Valley. So it's basically a form of private equity or funding that investors provide to startups or small businesses that they believe in the long-term potential growth. And I feel like the hit ABC show Shark Tank provides a really good demonstration into exactly how venture capital works. So you'll see the entrepreneur, they will walk onto the floor where the sharks are. The investors are all on the panel. You got billionaire Mark Cuban, Damon John from Fubu, you got Kevin O'Leary, you got Barbara, you got a host of other sharks that's on that panel, some major heavy hitters. And what they're doing is taking inventory of the entrepreneur's business while they're doing their pitch. So they want to know, how were your sales year over year? How was your revenue? What was your profit margin? How was your marketing, everything, because they want to make sure that they're making the most sound investment that fits their strategy. Because you got to keep in mind, in venture capital or in any investment that you make, not every single investment works out. And in particular, the VC world, they get a lot of pitches. Like any VC firms, if you were to ask them, they get probably hundreds of pitches per day maybe, and they don't all work out. So it's an interesting story how Nas actually got into the tech space. He met a gentleman by the name of Ben Horowitz, who happens to be one of the major players in the VC space. He happens to run a very successful and one of the largest VC firms in Anderson Horowitz up there, Silicon Valley. He's from Europe, I believe. But he turned $300 million into $2.7 billion in a matter of 3 years. And he was like one of the early investors alongside his business partner in Facebook, Twitter, Zynga, I believe Lyft as well. And he has a string of wildly successful companies that, he's going on to profit a hell of a lot from. Now, with that being said, you might wonder, how does a tech billionaire, right, from a different part of the world meet with a legendary MC, one of the most iconic rappers of all time, from the largest housing projects in America? And that is through relationships, okay? Relationships are key to scale throughout life, a job, whatever you want to do just to get to that next level. So, funny story is, Ben Horowitz is friends with a guy named Henry Lee Gates. At the time, Henry Lee Gates had a television show that he was trying to get a hip-hop artist on. He could not find anybody after trying plenty of times. So he reaches out to Ben to see if he can assist with the problem, right? Ben says, no problem. I'm going to reach out to one of my music contacts to see what he could do. Who is his music contact exactly? Steve Stout. If you don't know who Steve Stout is, a marketing guru, power figure in the music business. He created, as you may know, United Masters, which is an independent music platform for artists to distribute their music. He's done brand partnerships, with United Masters, with ESPN, NBA 2K, and it's recently it was reported that Apple invested $50 million into United Masters, for their platform. So that's a big deal, So shout out to Steve Stout, and he's been a long time associate of Jay-Z, as many may know, and Nas. Steve reaches out to none other than Nas, right? And that is how the two men, and Ben Horowitz and Nas, actually met. And little did they know that they actually had a common theme with one another, which was a love for hip hop. So Ben Horowitz is a huge fan of hip hop. Some of his favorite rappers is Jay-Z, Biggie Smalls, and of course he had Nas as one of his favorite rappers of all time. Even wrote a book about hip hop, So he meets Nas, and initially, Ben was the first one to really push Nas to encourage him to start his own venture capital firm. And that's how Queensbridge Venture Partners was born. So in 2013, Nas starts QVP alongside his business partner, Anthony Saleh, who happens to be another prominent figure in the music business. He's done music management for Nas, Future, and a host of other, musical acts. And they get together and they decide they wanted to target tech companies. Not just any tech startup, right? Because at the end of the day, there's a bunch of them out there. So I feel like Nas, alongside his business partner, Anthony Saleh, were very strategic and intentional with the type of investment strategy that they wanted to go with, right? So they wanted to target companies that were disruptive in their respective markets, companies that had the potential to have long-term sustainable growth in the future and years to come. And then, of course, they wanted to target sectors that they felt identified with what their brand identity would be, right? So they targeted companies within the health sector. They targeted companies within the transportation sector, fintech, and of course, music and media. And all of those things made sense because these are the things or sectors rather, that they felt would grow over the long term. So they were very specific in the type of companies that they invested in. So some of the most early and notable investments, of course, was Genius, which at the time was a music lyric website. You would type in your favorite artist song and you would get the lyrics to their music, and you would be able to kind of decode the lyrics. It gives you a little bit of a behind the scenes type of feel with some of your favorite artists. So it was really popular at the time. And when Nas, alongside Ben Horowitz, invested in Genius, they saw the vision where Genius was going. So if you see what Genius is now, they're a full-blown, digital media platform. They have podcasting with their show Off the Record with Rob Markman, who's dope, by the way. They have, interviews where they still do the decoding, but in an interview video format, and a host of other shows under their platform. And I feel like an underrated part of this story is, how Ben really helped out Nas alongside his business partner, Anthony Saleh, throughout this entire process when they were first getting started. So initially, QVP had to source their deals through Ben Horowitz. And what he did was take a stake in the company and then allocate the shares from that deal to Nas's firm. And they did that on multiple deals. So what that left Nas and his business partner with is multiple stakes inside dozens of companies. And if these companies went public, got bought out, they were standing to gain a hell of a lot from those deals, which I thought was really genius in the beginning. And some of the most notable investment that Nas has made was the Ring doorbell app, which is a home security startup tech company. And they were actually on Shark Tank a couple years ago. This was in 2014, Nas invested in them. And they got denied by Shark Tank. And if you look back and ask any of the sharks what's one of their biggest regrets, a lot of them will bring up the Ring doorbell app because it was bought out in 2018 rather, by Amazon for a tune of $1 billion. He also invested in the online pharmacy tech company PillPack, which got bought out by Amazon again for $1 billion. He also invested in Pluto TV, which was a free streaming service. It got bought out for $340 million by media giant Viacom. And he was an early backer in Robinhood, Lyft, Dropbox, a host of others. But the one that really sticks out, of course, how could you forget, is Coinbase. Coinbase just went public this past week, actually, on the stock market. And, the crazy part is Coinbase is the largest cryptocurrency platform in the world. So there's been a lot of debate about cryptocurrency. Is it here to stay? Is it a scam? But when you got the largest cryptocurrency platform actually trading as an equity on the stock market, that to me substantiates the power of cryptocurrency. So he was an early investor in Coinbase. I think in 2013, he was involved in their Series B funding that raised about $25 million. So Series B funding, for those who don't know, is basically when, you know, the business is trying to take things to the next level and they're past the development stage. They already went through the seed funding, they went through the Series A, and now they're trying to expand their market reach to really meet the demand of their customers. So they're just trying to build a winning product and grow a team by bulking up business development, sales, advertising, technology support, employees, and so on. And Nas got in on that early funding. I think his firm invested, it was reported, anywhere between 100,000 and 500,000, probably more so on the 100,000 side. But at the time, it valued Coinbase in 2013 at 150 million, which is less than 1% of its value today, because Coinbase is valued at $100 billion now. So Nas was able to get, like I mentioned earlier, with the scouting of those deals through Ben Horowitz, a slice of Coinbase shares. So he got about 99,000 shares, which were a little over $1. So if you do the math on that, the boy made a bag, safe to say. But nonetheless, you know, it was reported that he made $100 million from a $100,000 investment, him and his firm and his business partner, Anthony Saleh. So, you know, shout out to Esco, man. Like I said, he's a very, very shrewd businessman, extremely underrated when we talk about these moguls, entrepreneurs, and investors. And, you know, he doesn't get the credit that he's due. And I think large in part that's because he doesn't choose to talk about it a whole lot. He likes to move in silence, lets his actions speak louder than his words. So I love that about Esco. But, you know, shout out to him. He's a legend in the game and an icon. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. You know, I wanted to break down anything that came with venture capital and how Nas got started in venture capital. So I hope you guys liked it. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. And, you know, feel free to DM me if you got any questions. I'm out till next time. Peace.